Today did not go well. You spilled coffee in the morning, the traffic was bad, and nothing went right in the office. Good thing you have your beloved Pooch waiting to welcome you home, right? But when you walk in the door, how does your dog react? Doesn't even get up from where they're napping on the floor. Did something change in how your dog sees you? Does your dog no longer care whether you come home or not? What's wrong? In this video, we're going to be looking at 7 likely reasons why your dog isn't excited about you coming home anymore. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our canine loving community for more tips and tricks on how to spoil your furry friend. Number 1. Ever had one of those days where absolutely nothing happens? Where you spend most of the day lounging around, maybe half asleep, flipping through TV channels or scrolling aimlessly on your phone. Then out of nowhere, an exciting opportunity would pop up, like a chance to go to the pool or hang out with friends. You'd think you'd leap off the couch with enthusiasm, but instead you just couldn't muster the energy. Well, guess what? Your dog feels the same way. If they've spent their entire day napping on the couch, staring out the window, and taking the occasional stretch break, don't be surprised if they're not exactly bouncing off the floor the second you walk through the door. Sure, they're thrilled you're home, but going from snooze mode to zoomies? Yeah, that takes a minute. So if your dog gives you the just woke up face and moves a little slower than usual when you try to play, give them a bit of time to shake off the cobwebs. Number 2. Dogs are experts when it comes to picking up on patterns, especially if those patterns result in them getting more pets. When you walk through the door after a long day and your dog is bouncing up and down like they've just won the doggy lottery, what happens? You might give them a few pats, but you're probably also trying to fend them off while juggling your bag, keys, and, let's face it, your sanity. The result? A quick, distracted pet session while you try to get them to chill out. Now, if your dog is feeling extra clever, and let's be real, they often are, they might figure out a better approach. Instead of launching themselves at you like a furry rocket, they might decide to sit off to the side, watching your every move with those big, patient eyes. Now you have to go to them. Suddenly, the petting session is on their terms, and it lasts longer. It's basically doggy psychology 101. Play hard to get, and the human will come crawling with the pets. While you might think your dog is being unusually calm, they're really just a little mastermind, milking the situation for maximum belly rubs. Number 3. When you bring home a wriggling puppy for the first time, it can feel like their energy levels are virtually limitless. Every time they see you, they're jumping around and barking excitedly. But when your dog gets to about 1.5 years old, you might notice them starting to pull away. They're no longer as willing to do what they're told, and they seem to have forgotten most of their training. When you go out to the park, instead of jumping happily around your feet, they insist on pulling away and might even refuse to come when called. And of course, they no longer act excited when you come in through the door. What's happening? Is your dog going through a teenage-ish phase where they just hate you now? Well, we have good news and bad news on that front. The good news is that your dog doesn't hate you. The bad news is that they've come to the conclusion that you are hideously uncool. 1.5 is about the age at which the doggy teen years start, and just like human teenagers, our pups tend to start pulling away from their parental figures at this time. Your dog no longer jumps up at you when you come in through the door because that's not the sophisticated way to behave. You wouldn't understand. You just don't get it. Number 4. Your grown-up dog is unlikely to ever be quite so energetic as they were when they were a baby. Are any of us as full of beans as we were when we were little kids? When was the last time you tried to do a cartwheel? 4 out of every 5 dogs over the age of 8 years old suffer from pain in their joints. The sad truth is, our dogs age much faster than we do, and the cute little puppy of 10 years ago can be an old man of a dog today. As an old dog, your fur baby is unlikely to be up for running around and jumping up at you the way they used to, for the same reason that most elderly humans aren't doing parkour. It doesn't mean that your dog has stopped loving you, just that they're not such a spring chicken anymore. Number 5. If your dog isn't particularly old, however, then your fur baby no longer being interested in jumping up to say hello could be a sign that there is something amiss. If you notice them moving stiffly, taking stairs like they're climbing Everest, or maybe favoring one leg, it's a good idea to give the vet a call. It's like when you wake up and suddenly your back's doing its own thing. Dogs can get those unexpected aches and pains too. Another warning sign is if they suddenly start sleeping all day. Yes, dogs love a good snooze. Who wouldn't? But if your pup seems to have joined the Sleeping Beauty competition and you're starting to wonder if they've entered hibernation mode, it could be a sign their body is working overtime to deal with pain or even an infection. If it feels like they've become one with the couch, it's time to investigate. Number 6. Feeling unwell isn't the only reason that your dog might have started sleeping more, however. In cold weather, your dog might be sleepier and less willing to leave their warm sleeping places. As a human, you might also start feeling sleepier and less willing to leave your nice, warm sleeping place. If only, like your dog, you could take full advantage of it. When the temperature drops, your dog's body is working overtime to keep them warm, which means more time spent in dreamland. Plus, if you come home bringing a blast of cold air with you, they might just give you that look. The one that says, "I'll greet you in a minute," once the room heats up a bit. After all, why rush to leave the warm blanket fort when you can wait until it's toasty again? So next time your dog doesn't bolt to the door, don't take it personally. They're simply practicing the fine art of staying warm. Number 7. The thing a lot of people don't understand about their dogs is that jumping up at a person and making a huge fuss whenever they enter a room doesn't necessarily indicate higher levels of affection than simply lifting their head when the human comes in the room, and maybe coming over in a few minutes to get some pets. When your dog is jumping up and going wild, it's less about their undying love and more about them trying to impress you. It's like they're saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm such a good dog, right? You still think I'm a good dog, don't you?" It's a bit of an anxiety-driven performance, like when we try to make sure we're still in someone's good graces. Your pup just wants to make sure they're still the top dog in your heart. But once your fur baby starts feeling more confident in your love, they may not feel the need to put on the whole show anymore. Now they know they've secured that good dog status for life, and they can afford to play it cool. Instead of frantic greetings at the door, you might start getting the casual side-eye from the couch, like, "Oh, hey, you're back. Cool. Let me know when dinner's ready." After all, they know that you love them. Surely you know that they love you? The very word you've been using to describe your loyal companion, pet, is now under attack. Could this seemingly innocent term be subconsciously influencing how we view our cherished pups? And what do we call them instead? In this video, we'll examine if there's really something off with the word pet and offer 6 bold alternatives.